Hola a todos, bienvenidos al podcast de Los Pintores, en donde estaremos hablando de los desafíos que pasamos como una compañía hispana en la industria de la pintura. Hi everyone, this is Juan.
And José.
Aquí estamos con Los Pintores Podcast. Muchísimas gracias por estar con... Whoa, baby, I like that. See? So, hoy tenemos a John Diaz from Diaz Painting.
John Diaz Painting.
John Diaz Painting.
Yeah.
It's not Diaz Painting.
Yeah.
John Diaz
Diaz.
Painting. Okay.
John Diaz Painting, yeah.
There you
There's
go.
another Diaz Painting. We don't want him to get the business. We
No.
want
Forget that.
No,
Forget
you
that.
gotta call the right John Diaz.
God, let me
The
tell
John
you
Diaz
guys,
Painting.
today we got a good one for you. We are going to talk about business, but more than anything, we're going to talk about personality. And I think the person we got in today, man, does he have personality?
Couldn't fit any
Love
any
it.
better.
Just, I mean, so hold on, guys. This might be a bumpy ride, but it's going to be a fun one. I promise you.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Mr. John Diaz, tell us about you. Who is John Diaz? Give us a little bit about you.
That's a good question. John Diaz is he's an avatar.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Specific question. I mean, who am I? Man,
Like-
that's okay. I'm a father. I'm a friend. I'm a son. I'm an adventurist. I'm a cameraman. I'm an editor. I'm a producer. I'm a drummer.
God damn, you're everything.
I'm a lot of things. I'm a life enthusiast is what I am. That's who John Diaz is. And I think one of the things that's important to me is wherever I go, man, I just want to leave people with a good feeling. I think that's why you're asking me who I am, and that leads me into on the 21st, which I believe is going to be 18,
Monday,
19,
I
20,
believe.
on next Tuesday, I'm going to be celebrating 21 years. Wait a minute, 29 years in business.
Wow.
29
Your
years. I
own
even
business.
forgot. Yes, my own business. I've been licensed since 1994, and
Wow.
it's been incredible, guys. It's been an amazing run, and I would recommend it. I was thinking about a lot of things that I would talk to people about. And I think I had this conversation with Jose when we were talking.
You talked to me as well, so yes, we had this conversation.
Yeah, I was talking to
too.
Jose. I was talking to Juan. We were talking. I really enjoyed both conversations, and one of the things that I was talking about was that your experiences create who you're going to be. So if you're going to end up working for somebody, that's great. We're not all cut out to be, working for somebody else. And some people take charge of their own lives and they say, I'm going to go do my own thing. I think both are great, but I've chosen the path a little bit less traveled, and that's to become my own person. And the reason was because it all started from this. I love music, as you could tell.
Yeah,
And I was on a
yes.
commercial painting job site, and they said, you can't have headphones on the job site. I said, okay, all right. And then I went to another commercial job site, downtown LA. They said, you can't have headphones on the job site. And I go, not even one earbud, man. And this was back in the 90s. This was in the 90s, early 90s. And I kept running into this problem. I'm like, I have one earbud. My crew is working. I'm basically checking everything. I can do this. And just that little thing got me to think, like, I don't like people telling me I can't listen to music on the job site. I don't like that. Don't tell me I can't do that. And then so I said, you know what? And then my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and my wife told me at the time, you should get your own license. You should be a contractor. And I had a son on the way who is going to be 28 on the 24th. So it's a really special month because he's going to be 28 and my license being in business is 29 years old. I go, this guy's going to want to eat.
We can relate to that.
I gotta go and I gotta do something a little bit that's gonna bring in more money. And man, I was so full of doubt, guys. I was so full of trepidation. Tenía miedo. I was scared. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to be a rock and roll star. I wanted to do something else. I was practicing with the band 3 nights a week. We were playing places like the Troubadour, the Roxy, the Viper Room, the Whiskey a Go-Go. We were doing really cool stuff being featured on the radio, and I was holding on to that tight. And my kid was on the way, and I go, man, to be a good father and a good human being, you know what the right thing to do is. So I let that go to the side. I would revisit it after I was divorced and even blow up even more and make a couple more albums later.
Nice.
But I think that is one of the things that changed the trajectory of my life, is somebody telling me, no, you can't.
So if
I can't.
if I ask you one question, because that's one question that we always get asked, and we always ask the same question, right? And
Yeah.
you basically answer the question before we ask you, like, how do you start, how do you start out in your business, right? And
Okay,
what was the thing that made you go into it? And you mentioned it was the music, headphones, so it was something that
before that, what happened with my best friend's father and mother, they were the managers of an apartment complex.
Mhm.
My friend Scott and his parents, and they ran, I think it was almost 100 units. And so Scott was always well dressed. He always had this nice, remember, it was the 80s, man, and I was like 14 or 15 years old. And he had this nice like tracksuit, like you see the mafiosos wear, like in the the Italian guys.
I want to
and he
wear
always had
something
this
like that.
really nice suit, and I said, man, you're always well dressed, always got the nice Nikes on, or what, the LA Gear, whatever was happening in the 80s. And I asked them for a job, but they didn't have a job at the time. And then one day, this is what happened, based on a true story. My friend Scott had an older brother named Richard. They had been partying the night before. We're 15 years old. I wasn't there. He was supposed to paint an apartment. He was a painter. He would do all the painting, my friend Scott and his brother. They ended up drinking too many Budweisers the night before. Scott had a hangover at 15. His dad, who was like Grizzly Adams, man, big dude, big sausage fingers, big man, came rolling up. I went to go visit Scott. I lived off the property, up the street. And I went to visit Scott, and he was like, man, I'm not feeling good. He goes, I'm going to be in the back in an empty apartment. He goes, I'm going to be in the back room. He had 2 drop cloths. One he used as a brand new drop cloth. He used as a cover. He's laying on the floor. Used as a cover. The other one's a pillow. The other brand new drop cloth he uses as a pillow. And he goes, hey, man, tell me if my dad comes. He goes, hey, you want to? And I was interested in painting. I go, hey, can you show me? He goes, yeah. He goes, here, cut in the walls on the. I go, what's cutting in? He goes, that's when you use the brush to. And remember, he's got a hangover, and he's like, dude, I just want to lay down. So he showed me how to cut around the cabinets and cut the walls. So I was like just messing around. I was messing around, not getting paid. It's summertime. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Whatever.
And his dad showed up. His dad drove an ATC, and you could hear it. It was a big property, so he would use the ATC, a 3-wheeler, to drive around the property. He had like a milk carton on the back of the thing for all his tools. And he pulls up, and I was like, oh crap. And he goes, hey, where's Scott? But in a voice, where's Scott? And I don't. I think he's back there. And then he walks back there, and he goes, God damn it, Scott! You're fired. Your mother already paid you for this apartment. So he walks out huffing and puffing, saw me with the brush. He goes, do you want a job? I go, yeah, I would love a job. He goes, okay, finish this apartment up. Have Scott, show him how to paint. And then he left. He goes, don't you come back home until you show him. And that was my entry.
Wow.
That was my
Scott is a
entry
good teacher.
into it. And the next thing I did was they had me help a little bit on the exterior. It was the first time I saw an airless pump being used, 2 stories. These guys were getting after it. I didn't even realize how hard they were working or what they were doing. I was just like watching in awe. And then I just slowly progressed from there. And then on that same property, my parents divorced, separated, and we ended up moving to that property because we were such good friends with them. Then I ended up full-time over there being a painter. I would mow, I would change out toilet, sink fixtures. I was like a junior maintenance man.
Maintenance, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's how I got the start. And then I met a beautiful woman there, a beautiful little girl, I guess. We were just kids. And I ended up marrying her and having kids. And when I was about to have my first child, I ended up working for my first company and then another company. And because I didn't know what I was really doing. I just took whatever, man, and I would just accept whatever. And then as I went on and learned, I learned more and I learned more. And then finally, right before I left, one of the jobs that I did was for Howard Stern's agent on Wilshire and Beverly, a big high rise on the corner there, and right close to the La Brea Tar Pits. And I remember starting that project thinking to myself, you need to go. It's time. If you can do this, if you can run this whole floor and you ran this all the crews, you can do this. You can do this on your own. And they had gotten in my head already. And I had also done a job. It used to be the tallest building, and I used to call it the Die Hard building, the one that blows up in Die Hard. It's now the U.S. Bank building, and it's a round building.
Okay. The one that has a slide?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Dude, that's the one. Guillermo from Jimmy Fallon went on the slide.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched that. That dude he was crying. He's like,
dude,
it's again.
Yeah. So I did that. And then the property management wrote to our company at the time. It was a commercial company in Anaheim, and they thanked our company. I ran that project, and they thanked our company saying, we want to thank you. We've never had a painting contractor that we've never not had a bad experience. We've always had some sort of issue. There's always something that happens with the painter. We want to thank you because this is the first time we never had any issues, and it was incredible, and we thank you. Well, here's my secret. I would come with donuts every other day for like if the guys that were putting in the data lines were there, or if they were putting in the partitions, or they were putting in the T-bar ceilings, if they were the electricians, I'll bring donuts because I wanted to let these guys know I'm not trying to screw up your schedule. I want to help you, but can you help me with my schedule, and we'll work together.
Wow.
We'll work together.
I love that.
I like that.
And so I went and I didn't bring coffee because that's messy. I just say, I get your own coffee, but here's donuts for everybody. Hey, what are you going to be doing today, Bruce? Hey, Steve, are you going to be pulling line today in this area? Yeah, but not until 11. So you guys have it. That's how I worked with everybody. And I just, I took that and I realized, I go, you know what? And I would come home and I would tell my wife at the time, and she would say, you're meant to do this, man. You're on a bigger scale, and you speak English like all your crews.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't just mean Hispanics. I mean, we had guys from Croatia. There was a Russian guy that worked on the crew. So there was some language barriers, and I would just go in there and go, hey, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And my bosses loved me for that. But they didn't love me enough to give me a raise.
That's usually what happens, right?
We closed escrow on our first house, and then I said, you know what, it's time. I told my wife, as soon as we close escrow and the house is ours, ya me voy, I'm out of here. I'm gonna leave. And she said, okay, are you feeling good about it? And I go, yeah, but I might need some help. She goes, I'll help you. Whatever you need, proposals, blah, 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 I'll help you. And that was the beginnings of it, man. That was what happened.
You know, it's incredible to hear, 29 years, because it just God, that's a lifetime.
Lifetime, yeah.
I mean, when we look at it, our kids will be like, whoa, I wasn't even born, and but it's crazy, and I'm like, no, man, you look damn good. But what I'm saying is like, right? But what I'm saying,
I try to keep a good. Thank you, Juan. I try to keep a good attitude, and I say try because, man, I was just thinking about this. I'm going to be starting a new series on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be starting a new series, and it's going to be called What I Learned This Week. And I'm going to be putting it out on Friday. I think I'm going to do the first one today. And what I learned during the week, I want to take it into. So what I learned is that if you're kind to people, they're not always going to return it, but you shouldn't change. Yes. You shouldn't change just because people are not receptive to what you're doing. You should always bring your A game as far as attitude, skills, humor, and the rest usually works itself out. That's how I landed. I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging at all.
No, brag, man. That's what we're here for.
That's how I landed the Lowe's ambassadorship. That's how I landed Dunn Edwards ambassadorship. That not so much ambassador, but we collaborated on a thing. And then Olfa recently. I'm giving you guys all a shout out, Olfa. I'm so happy to work with these brands that I use every day. They're in my toolbox. They're in my truck.
That's right. Yes.
And they said, hey, we like what you're doing. And I remember I was finishing up a senior center and I got the most amazing message. Hey, we went through your Dunn Edwards. Hey, John, it's so-and-so from Dunn Edwards. We saw your page. We've scrolled through it and we really like what we see. And we think it would be really fun to collaborate with you. And I was like
me.
There was one of the nurses that I was like, hey, check out
That's amazing, man.
Yeah. And I still get excited. I land projects and I have a general contractor, one of my best friends who lives in Hawaii, and I visit him at least maybe once or twice a year. And he told me, we were talking one day and I was telling him how excited I was about getting this project. And he goes, I go, do you think it's weird I still get excited about getting projects? He goes, yeah, man, you've been doing this for so long. Why do you get so excited? And I always get excited because somebody is trusting me with their project. And I still like that I have that like childish excitement or enthusiasm for it. And I think that's what's kept me in business and the current client I have, an exterior, she told me something funny, dude. She goes, you're one of the cheeriest people I've ever met. And she's 82. So she knows a thing or two. And she goes, but you can, and aquí está, here's what she said. She goes, but you can't be like that all the time. I go, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not like that all the time. Most of the time, yes. She goes, well, what makes you angry? I said, besides people who don't use their turn signal? She goes, yeah, besides people who don't use their turn signal. I go, people who don't reciprocate my kindness. That's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off in life. But again, going back full circle, that you can't allow that to change your trajectory in life. You have to basically say, okay, well, I did my best. I stepped up to the plate. I might have fouled, I might have struck out, but I went up there and I tried. And that's the most important thing.
People never actually try, and that's where the failure is,
Yeah.
And it is amazing that you say that because same as you, I've had those comments and I've had times where I felt like, why do I do this? Like, why am I nice? Why am I? But then you realize and you come back and you're like, man, this is just me. Not because somebody wants to be a douche.
I'm gonna change it.
I'm gonna be like that. It's not my persona. So
exactly.
I cannot allow that to happen. So I am gonna do. And if I cannot influence that person, it's completely fine because I don't need to, And so, okay, now I understand why, But at the same time, it is tough. It is tough to carry that all the time, especially in business, especially with the family. I mean, especially in driving in LA, right?
People
area, no signals. I mean,
well, that's another thing, man, is once I started my business, I was driving from Rancho Cucamonga to Anaheim, and then I drive from Anaheim deeper into Costa Mesa or into that area, or they would send me I'd go to the shop in Anaheim and then they'd send me to downtown Los Angeles. A lot of times I was like, why did you make me come to the shop? I could have just went straight. Well, I just had to tell you this.
We lost audio.
Treat people.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You treat people.
It says a lot about you and the way that you actually even see yourself, because people will pick up on it. If you treat people badly, it's not a reflection of the person that's being treated badly. It's a reflection of you and what you might be going. So I don't even judge people anymore.
Yeah.
I just go, hey, man, maybe they are going through something. You don't know if their wife or husband yelled at them, cheated on them. They're going through a divorce. You don't know what these people are going through. They might be having health issues. And so I try not to judge people because I go, you just don't know.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Hey, man, let me we got an agenda here to keep up, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna be
ask questions. I
like that. Well,
I'm here.
More than anything, as we talked about, this is Los Pintores, so we wanna bring out to more of our Hispanic community. Of course, everybody's welcome here, but en español, no queremos saber más o menos un poquito más de dónde eres tú, de dónde es tu familia, dónde naciste, en inglés o en
Segurito.
español, como tú gustes
Ya,
decirlo.
hazme una pregunta.
A ver, tú de dónde eres, de dónde es tu familia y de dónde eres tú.
Yo nací en West Covina, California, y nací allí y estamos ahí por como 6 meses y luego movemos a Ontario, California.
Ah,
Y desde allí, desde niño, como 10 años, sabía que quería moverme up the mountain. Quería subir la
mm.
montaña, porque ahí estaban las bonitas. Ahí estaban ahí estaban los carros nuevos, pero eso era antes de que conocí a mi esposa, que ella se veía como salió de Baywatch, y no te estoy haciendo
Oh,
mentira, se veía
no, sí
como
te creo.
y desde niño, desde como, I met her when we were like 15, 16 years old, when my parents split up and then they moved in, and everybody on the block was like, who's that? ¿Quién es ella? But
That reminds me. That
that,
reminds me of the Friday movie
that's
from
what it
Rancho
was.
Cucamonga. Oh,
So,
dude.
y mi mamá es de México, de Durango.
Okay.
Mi papá, quién sabe, eso a lo mejor es un parte de porque yo soy como soy, porque no conocí mi padre, pero tenía un stepfather, que él era
Stepdad.
militario, pero él estaba como 14 años más mayor de mi mamá, o él
Oh,
estaba
okay.
más mayor y él estaba en World War II,
Wow.
si lo puedes creer, y él
Yeah.
era un ingeniero y él hacía las líneas para la comunicación en World War II, y él era ingeniero, ah, y nos llevaba a su trabajo en el sábado.
Mm,
Y también cuando él era joven, él hacía trabajo de masonry, ladros, cemento, haciendo bardas. Y
okay. So construction.
yeah, that's what he would do. So, and so I'm going to translate for everybody real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because there's going to be people that are like, dude, what happened? Unless there's subtitles.
Yeah. I got
¿Qué dijo
So let
John
me
Diaz?
translate. Yeah, so let me translate what I was born in West Covina. My mom's from Durango. And my father, I don't know where he's from because I've never met my biological father. I was
biological.
raised by a stepfather, military. He was in the army. He was a communication specialist. He would be the guy in World War II running the lines. And so he was doing that stuff. And then he was also an engineer when he got out of the army. He worked in different places, running places, and their machines and factories. And he was like one of the head honchos. We'd go to work with him on Saturdays. And I get my work ethic from him. At first, oh man, God, oh. I would be he'd be like, cooperation, uh, teamwork, blah, blah. He would drill all these things. And I was just like a young kid. And the older I got, the more I was like the black sheep, because I would just reject. I don't want to. I want to go be a rock and roll. I want to go be a crazy Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. I want to go do this on a stage. I don't want to listen to this. But eventually, when I had my own family, um, I took every word he said and honed every skill that I had to be what his blueprint was, and it worked. And I remember he was having problems with his heart, and we visited him one time at the hospital, and it was before he passed away. And he said, I want to let you know I'm really proud of you and the little family that you created. And that meant the
Amazing,
world, man,
man. No,
because
that means a lot.
yeah. So
Ah.
it's hard work, man. Is a lot of people, they don't, there's people that go and they think they work hard. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm saying, man, like what you guys do, you guys are artists. You guys, I've been thinking about this before I got on here, man. I thought I need to tell you guys this. I look
Yeah.
at you as an elevated, you're not just painting contractors. You guys are artisans. You guys do something a little different. I was talking to Oliver yesterday. You're a producer extraordinaire.
The man. The
Oliver.
man.
Hola, Oliver. ¿Cómo estás? And ojalá bien. And I was thinking how your organization has elevated painting to a different thing. I know there's a lot of other guys, but as Hispanics, I think, and just people of color, a lot of times we're seen as the employee. We're not the employer. We're seen as the janitor. We're seen as the guy who cuts the lawn. We're seen as a lot of different things, but our heritage and things that we invented and sundials and little all the things that Mayans did and Aztecs and aside from the human sacrifice, we'll put that over there.
Yeah, we don't want
Let's
that.
not talk
We
about
don't
that.
talk about that today.
Hey,
No,
let's
not
not
today.
talk
We'll leave it
about
for the
that.
next one.
But you guys really are an inspiration. And I was talking to my son earlier. He's on his way in from Las Vegas to California to race motorcycles in a race tomorrow. And he called me up and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I go, "I'm getting ready for my podcast." And he goes, "Whoa, what?"
What podcast?
He's used to me saying, he goes, "I thought you were gonna say," I go, why'd you make me stop talking? He goes, "I thought you were gonna say I'm walking a project or I'm walking with a client or I'm walking through the paint store."
Yes, sir.
But he goes, "Wow, Dad, you're saying I'm getting ready for my podcast." He goes, "That's awesome." And then my daughter right after texted me and said, "Hey, Dad, I just want to let you know, I hope you have a great podcast and I hope it goes good. Let me know how it goes afterwards." And that is everything that I worked for in my life. Just to have good children and, having great friends is one thing, but to have great children is another thing entirely. And they're both successful. My son works for an HVAC contractor. He's a union guy in Las Vegas. My daughter works for Monster Energy Drink in the legal department, not the warehouse. Not that there's anything wrong with the warehouse, but again, because we're brown, people go, "Oh, she's the head of shipping and receiving." I go, "Shut up, get out of here."
I had a friend que decía que era cajera, right? And I'm like, "Oh, you work at the cashier?" No, I was like, "I moved the boxes."
Yeah. So I really want to tell you guys, number one, thank you for having me on. You guys forced me to get a haircut.
Oh,
number two,
good.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys because you guys really are elevating our trade to a whole other level, where that level is that we're running projects. The guys who were used to be being told what to do, now we're speaking with clients and we're slowly rising, which is great. I think it's amazing. And the way that you guys met Oliver and he was telling me how with the liquid metal product, and I was like, it sounded amazing. And then I just saw you guys had a door. You guys had this door that looked like, when Han Solo gets dipped in Star Wars, he gets dipped in this like metal and it comes up.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're talking
Star
about.
Wars. And he gets like cryogenically frozen. You guys did like this door. I just saw it on your page in one of your stories, and it had this really incredible finish to it. And I just marvel because, dude, honestly, when I see some of your guys' stuff and I'm over here painting a wall or spraying a door, a garage door, I just look at the different levels of painting and I admire that. You're welcome. I don't look at it like a competition. I look at it like different, I'm probably like the Nordstrom's guy, but you guys are over on Rodeo Drive. That's how I'm gonna.
I haven't even driven by Rodeo Drive. I gotta go check it out now.
well, Rodeo Drive is. I used to, when I worked for the commercial company, I was painting City National Banks. We had an account with them, and so we would have to use the Spider. You familiar with the Spider?
Yes.
And we'd have to get on the lift. It's what the window washers use. And I'd have to get on and I'm like, "Oh God." And I push the button and you have to, with your partner, you learn teamwork because you have to push the button. Ready? 1, 2, 3, boom. Because if not, your lift, your stage is going to be janky. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Rodeo Drive. But I just look at, we all have different levels. There's guys that paint apartments and that's great. That's cool what they do. There's guys that do this work, industrial work, commercial work, and then you guys do like a customized high-end residential, and then you do some commercial work too. But it's just nice to see, man. I was telling my son about you guys and how
thank you,
thank you, man.
Your work.
Appreciate that. I mean, that means a lot. That means a lot to us.
We don't really call it levels. We call it like niches. Like everybody's gonna have a niche. It could be residential, industrial, commercial.
And it all has its challenge, for
Yeah.
us. I like something that you brought up, like elevating the industry. And we were exposed to the expo, to the PCA a few years back, and something that really changed in us. I've been painting for 25 years now.
Whoa,
So
congrats.
it's quite a bit.
Actually,
Thank you. Almost 25
like
years this month.
Just about now, it's 25 years.
25. Same with Jose. And I ran a business since 2007. So for about 10, 12 years, we were just after the job. We were just making sure we're busy. We didn't have a direction of what we wanted to. We didn't know what the business was supposed to look like. We didn't know our potential.
We were just busy working.
We were just busy working. And then we stumbled up the PCA. Go ahead.
That's how people get caught in the rut, because they never break from there. You get so busy running on the hamster wheel that you don't understand your full potential.
Exactly. And
You
that's
get
why
stuck on that
we
wheel.
created this. This is the main reason why we created this. So last year we got the opportunity to travel and share our story, and we saw a lot of that need. I mean, we were there 5 years ago. We're still there. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you guys how you guys got started and how you met? Because I don't, in a real fair, a good conversation, both parties tell a little bit about themselves. I want to know about you guys, and I'm sure everybody else watching this wants to know how you guys started, each of you, and how you met.
It was kind of similar to you. You mentioned earlier how you speak English, at the time, so you were the bilingual person in the crew. That's how we were brought into the business. Our neighbor was a painter, and he asked, because we were in high school.
Yeah.
And he asked, like, hey, do you guys want to work as a painter? And we're like, we don't know how to paint. And like, oh no, but you guys speak English. And and at that time, there was the crew that speaks only English, and then the crew that speak only Spanish. So there was nothing in the middle. And that's when we,
that's when we came in.
And we did a dumb decision, a stupid decision. We were in high school. We dropped out.
Well, I was already out of school. I was having a kid. So I was 16 years old, and I was going to have a baby. So, travieso. There you go.
Don Juan.
Ya se me quitó.
Don Juan, Don John.
Like, it's all in the John. No, pero so we always use these terms because we stumbled up into this business. It's not like we, I was gonna be the guy who was gonna be making the prototypes for the new cars that come out. I love cars, and I was gonna be that guy, and I'm really good at school. But then happens. My girlfriend got pregnant. I was having a baby. I needed a job.
You got her pregnant.
Yeah, well, she got pregnant. We're talking about
it was the immaculate conception. We'll just leave it
at that. But then it started. We worked for a couple companies. About in 2005, I went and talked to my boss, and I said, hey, I want to do something else. I don't want to be. And this was my line back then. I don't want to be 60 pushing a brush. So it just, to me, I didn't want to do that. And I came to my boss. Yeah, and I've always been like that. He's always had the issue, like, man, like, you don't want to work. Fear. I'm like, no, I don't. It's not that I don't want to work. There's got to be a different way.
I'm hitting that right now, fellas. And I'm so glad for the opportunities that I'm getting, because I get paid to do some reels. I get paid to do a couple things. But anyways, go. I want to hear more about how you guys met, though. How did you guys you guys were in high school?
So we're friends since high school. We met in high school, and this is part of the story that we share all the time. We are from the same town in Oaxaca, but we didn't know over there. The town's small, but we didn't know each other over there. We met up in high school. He became my best friend. Now he's my brother-in-law. I'm married.
No, we were until he takes my sister. So I'm like, okay. What? Now we became family.
Hey, good friend, man. Such a good friend.
The plot thickens. The plot thickens.
Right. No, but it's interesting because we went to school together. we knew each other. I was always the kid that always get into trouble. So these guys, him and my other good friend,
It was three of us.
they always used to take care of me. You know, I used to get into stupid things, and
Like-
I know I always had them, you know, to have my back. And so, you know, things moved up. He was good friend, and I didn't know he was dating my sister. And then one day I find out, it's like, hey, you know, well, I'm dating your sister. I'm like, fuck, well, what can I do, right? And then now they have three kids.
yeah.
Wow,
they're
congratulations,
adults.
dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're all adults. You know, my son is 25, my daughter's 15.
So mine, it's my oldest one is 22. My middle one is 21, and my younger one is she's about to be 18. So
Yeah,
Wow,
so you know,
you were busy too.
travieso
this guy,
también.
travieso,
Hey.
man.
When the TV wasn't working, what happened?
We didn't have money. We couldn't afford
we didn't have-
it.
We didn't have
That's
social
what I
media
always-
and phones.
That's what I always tell my mom. I go, Mom, why do you have so many kids? I go, well, the TV wasn't working. I go,
We didn't have one. We didn't have one. We were broke, bro. No, but
Oh,
but
that-
you know what though? Coming back to this, it's gonna take us to maybe a little longer. But I want to just recap something very quick.
Okay.
After moving on from my boss, you know, he really thought that all I needed was more money, and it wasn't the money. You know, I felt that I needed something more, and I took a chance. You know, and I spoke to him at the same time. He didn't want to take that chance, and I took it. For the next 10 to 12 years, I ran a business. I think I created a decent, pretty good reputation for the business. 2019, they take me down to San Luis Obispo, and then I met Josh Abramson from
Albright painting.
Albright Painting down in Santa
Santa
Clarita.
Clarita.
And so he kind of went and gave one of those speeches with Sharon Williams, and he talked about how the PCA helped him like grow his business, how I understanding and being exposed. So I came back, and we were just thinking about partnering together. He had gotten his license, and you know, we always talk about this. We ended up putting our trip to Galveston, Texas in a credit card because we didn't have money to go. So he's like, well, I don't have no money. I'm like, well, the company pays. He was like, the company doesn't have any money. I'm like, well, we have a credit card.
Wait a minute, we don't have money. The
And I
company
shared-
doesn't have money.
And I share the idea that, when, now we hear it more, and now we know, right? When they say invest in yourself, invest in your
Yeah.
business. That was investing in our business, but that was something I didn't, how do you say, I couldn't afford, or I didn't want to do it, right? I had 1,000 excuses, like, work, no money, 1,000 excuses, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's something that we share with the rest, because
But-
like, a lot of people is gonna relate to that.
The good
Can I
thing is
tell
that
you
I'm the
what
crazy one. Uh-huh.
Can I tell you where the excuses come from, though? My opinion.
Uh-huh.
Fear of the
Yeah.
unknown.
Oh, yes.
We
Fear.
always,
Fear.
we
And
always-
See, and the good thing is that we share is that, like,
Yeah.
so he's got those. I will jump and ask questions later. So I'm that guy. So for me, that's kind of what we have. So it's good because look, I'll jump into the puddle, and then and then he's like, hold on, now we gotta make it. So that's where we
Yeah.
share, because I'll go for it, and because I know I have him behind me,
Yeah.
because I know he's gonna be like, all right, we'll make it happen. But he won't jump in the puddle. But once somebody's in the puddle, he'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the
dynamic,
the dynamic that we were able to create, and until this day, we have our issues, we have our disagreements, but we understand that we both have something unique, and we both understand that when I make a call, it might not be the greatest, but if
But
I
I'll back
feel
it up.
great, he'll back it up. If he makes the call, and even if I don't feel so great, if he feels certain about it, I'm like, let's do it. If he doesn't make it, we're not gonna judge each other. We're gonna be like, fine,
Yeah.
We
Close it up,
tried it.
close
It,
it up,
it didn't
let's go to
work.
the next one.
Let's move to the next one. Yeah.
and
Well,
not really.
It's a good partnership. That's a good partnership. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
and so that's really what helped us create this, but it wasn't just that. I guess something that we want to make clear for a lot of people who are either in business, and not just that are starting up, like who've been in business for a long time, but they haven't gotten a chance to move to the next level. I don't know if they don't want to, or they don't have the means to do it. Is you just got to do it. There's, especially nowadays with social media, with all the technology, there's so much out there. I mean, you can listen to podcasts. You can go to Facebook groups. I mean, you can listen to John Diaz here, which trust me, you're not going to get bored at all, you know. And so, but it's finding all these alternatives other than just our old way of saying like, oh no, I just got to go to work. I mean, you want to go through life, living life with you not being satisfied with what you're doing. That's the biggest thing, you know? So that leads me to something. What do you think is the most important lesson you've learned in painting till today?
I would say in painting and in life is that you're going to have doubts, but you must break through the doubts. You must study and analyze why you have the doubts, why you have preconceived notions about whatever you're going to do. And you have to get data about what that is. You have, whether it's asking somebody else if it's a good idea, watching somebody else do the same thing that you want to do. You got to study yourself. You have to understand who you are and why you believe the things you believe. And if some of the things you believe aren't to a certain level, then why aren't they? Why don't you believe this much? So I think doubt is a big thing. And you brought something up, Jose, that, and I think Juan, you did too. You got to bet on yourself. If you don't bet on yourself, I'm going to tell you something that nobody else is going to bet on you. I had this thought the other day that sometimes I don't want to make a video. I don't want to show my face on camera a lot now.
Same here.
I don't. Even though some days in the right lighting and the right, I look okay.
The right
I don't
background.
really want to do it because I don't want people judging. But then I'm like, man, the thing is that if you get caught in that space, here's what happens. You will, if you have wisdom, you will eventually realize that people don't care as much as you think they care. They don't care about you this way or that way. So you might as well just go ahead and do what you're going to do because they don't care. I'm over here worrying, oh, I'm this or I'm that. And then just go record the video, make the little thing you want to do and have fun with it. And if it's supposed to be, it'll be. So I guess that would be the biggest thing is to try to understand yourself in any situation and understand why you might have fear, why you have to bust through the fear. And I always say, for me, my kids even know this about me. My big thing is persistence. So if I call you and I don't get you on the first ring, don't think I'm not, if it's important, don't think I'm not going to
You'll be calling.
I'm going to call again because I need to find out what time we're supposed to show up. When are the drywallers going to be done? Is this happening? Did my order come in? Whatever it is, are you going to go on the date with me? Are we still on for Friday?
Now you have to be calling.
I'm persistent, but no. I don't really date anymore. That's why I still have a whole lot of. I don't have.
No, I was gonna say, and it's
not
black.
like gray hair, like
yeah. See, the more gray,
like there's a little more.
I'm single, so it's like I keep my. I don't argue with anybody except myself.
I deal with that myself too.
Yeah. So that's the answer to that is I think trying to understand yourself and why.
So let me ask you something. I think this is something very important coming from someone who's been in the business for so long. If you were to start your business now, what do you think will be one of the most important things that you do different now?
Or do better?
Or we'll do different than what you did.
I would just, it goes back to doubt. I think I would just believe that I was able to do it because there was so much doubt. I would have a different mindset.
Thank you. Mindset is big.
Mindset. I would not look at myself as like, oh, I hope I get the job. I hope they like me. Just go out there and do it. Do it. Don't hesitate. Do it. If you want to write a book, go write the book, man. If there's a woman you're in love with and you want to go ask her to marry you, like, hey, don't do
that. Don't be that brave.
But if you do, whatever goal it is, if you want to start a business, if you want to start a podcast, look at you guys. I'm sure you guys had some doubts, and then you're like, I don't know,
so many times.
And the thing is that you got to get past the the doubt and I'm telling you, if I would have had a better mindset of who I was or what I was capable of, if I would have been like a Jedi in the way that they control their emotions, mindset, I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I love the Jedi mindset. It's like I can control my universe with the way I believe and think. And so I always was like, I took the scraps that people gave me for so long and thank you, may I have another? And I said, and olvídate de eso, forget it. Don't take people's scraps.
Yeah.
Remember
Go
who
for it.
you are and go for it. And whether it's being in a rock band, dude, I played some of the biggest stages in the world. Why? Because I believed I was supposed to. And if you
Nice.
believe you're supposed to do something, dude, we opened up for bands like Rat. We opened up for bands like Warrant. A lot of bands on the Sunset Strip, man. And I was there in the 80s and I never thought I couldn't. I just practiced in my room, put the headphones on and playing because I had this like in el corazón, I had this passion that was burning in me. And plus it was a cool way to get chicks.
Otra vez,
And
Don
so-
Juan.
Don John.
I'm telling you, so the truth is just, I guess it would be mindset, man. Is like I would believe in myself more than I did, more than when I was growing up. I'm going to tell you something that was painful. When I was growing up, and this might be saying too much, but there was times when people would be like, "Oh, you're a wetback. Oh, you're a chuntaro. Oh, you're a border brother." And some of these, sometimes it was from an actual friend that would say this.
Yeah.
And one time it sticks in my mind. Oh, your mom's a wetback. And I remember there's this guy named Bobby. I'm not going to mention the last name, but I considered him a good friend, but he was Mexican too. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, you're just more Americanized. And so you got to be careful who you allow in your life too. And at the time, my
very
mother,
big.
I remember her saying something. She goes, "That's not your friend." And I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You didn't know, but I was listening to you guys talk, and the way he's talking to you, that's not your friend." And slowly but surely I got it. But see, I was just a naive, sweet little kid who was like, I think I was 10 years old, 11, 12. And that was who was in my neighborhood. So I just,
Yeah.
his grandparents lived across the street and he went to go visit them. And his parents lived a couple blocks over. And so that's who I hung out with. But it's like some people can bring poison into your life. And that leads me to another thing. One of the topics that I always tell people is if you're not appreciated somewhere, whether it's your job, a relationship, whatever it is, I'm not telling people to leave relationships, but I'm saying if you're not appreciated, you don't need to be there. You need to pick up and you need to say, you know what, this isn't right for me. I have a deep gut feeling in this. I shouldn't be here, and leave. And that's what I did with jobs and some friendships. I remember when I was a teenager, when I did get a little smarter, my friends were into some stuff that I wasn't into, man. And I was like, I'm gonna leave this group of friends and go over here.
You have
And
to.
then it was a few weeks, maybe a month, and then finally I went back and I saw them, and they're like, "Hey, what happened?" And da da da. And I think I gained a little respect from them because they knew, listen, this guy will bounce. He's got other alternatives for friendship, and I ended up becoming lifelong friends with these people. But I just think it's really important to protect your mindset, your sanity, and to always believe in your mission. And that's it. But next question. New York Times. Go ahead.
So one more question. This is not New York Times. This is Los Pintores. Most influential person you ever met in business.
In business.
And why? And why? I mean,
you know what?
And why por qué decimos?
I'm going to tell you that I'm going to tell you one of the most influential friends that I thought about this, and it didn't come to me until you asked me right now. You know, in business, it's kind of hard. I met my best friend who's a general contractor who moved to Hawaii. I met him working at the Pomona Cemetery. He was the contractor that was working there. I was the painter. And for whatever reason, our styles and everything, we just hit it off and we became friends. And he showed me his way of being able to live and how he lived his life and what was possible. and how I was like, I was working always too hard, always work, and just like this, while he was enjoying his life a little bit more.
Okay.
And he would dress nicely to work. He wouldn't always dress like the general contractor, and he wouldn't always dress like, like a construction guy. He would come in with cool like Volcom shirts and like camouflage, and I go, wow, he's got a cool style, and it just inspired me to treat myself better and to not
Yes.
look at myself as like, oh, all
Care
you
about
are is
yourself.
a zombie and you go work and no, that's not, enjoy the life that you have. And I think that really helped me. I mean, I can't really think of too many people that have inspired me in business, because I think people are so wrapped up in their own thing. They're not really trying to
Yes.
help you. They're not trying to inspire. Oh, there is one more person in business. Oh, I cannot forget this person. My good friend Bob from a company named Draperite in Claremont, California. I met him in 91 or 2, and we would meet on these projects. His family had a business since 1952 or 53. They started their drapery business in Pomona. His father, Julius, and his mother. And what ended up happening is I would see him on a job site, and I was working for this Englishman, and I was working the whole job alone. And he would come in and he goes, hey, I'm Bob, and I'm John. And we would meet, and then I'd see him on another job. And he goes, are you here alone? And I go, yeah. He goes, wow, dude. And so after like 3 or 4 jobs, he goes, dude, you should really go out on your own. I go, my father-in-law's telling me, my wife's telling me.
Now you telling me?
I'm like, this dude's telling me. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, well, maybe I should. My
They showing
father-in-law says,
you.
I'll lend you the money for the license. Just pay me back when you don't have to pay me on your first job, your second job. Just pay me back slowly whenever you get it. I was like, okay, cool. My wife would always remind me, hey, my dad said he'd give you some
Come
money for
on.
that license. So Bob from Draperite is really, I would say he was a super influential. I wouldn't be here probably talking to you guys if it wasn't for Bob. And his family referred me for 2 years before I got my license. 2 years.
Well, thank
And
you,
he would
John.
always say, hey, I got
I
a
mean,
job for you. And still to this day, he refers me. And he's slowed down a little bit because I think he's like 10 years older than me. But really just salt of the earth man, quality, good man. I've painted for every member of their family. I've painted his house a couple of times. He's referred me to the city of Claremont. I painted a few projects for them. He's referred me to a few different places that I did, and I can't thank him enough because and he called me one time after I'd been doing work for him for about maybe 3 or 4 years, like not for them. I didn't work for them. He would just give out my name. Here's a guy.
Refer.
And he told me, he goes, John, I tell people when they ask me for a painter, I go, well, are you moving into the property or are you moving out of the property? And then all of his clients, remember, he puts in draperies and window coverings. And then everybody that they would ask that Bob would ask that, they'd go, why? What does that have to do with anything? She goes, and Bob goes, well, if you're moving out of the property, I have a guy for that. But if you're going to be moving into the property, I recommend John Diaz because you're going to want to, so it looks.
If you want to be in love with your house, you got to go.
Yeah,
John
you
Diaz.
want it. Yeah. So if you're leaving the house, I got this other
Nice.
guy. But if you're going to be living in the house, and then he called me one day. He called me and he goes, this is the conversation. I saw, hey, Bob, what's up? He goes, hey, what are you doing to our clients? Just like that. And I go, hey, what? He goes, yeah, we keep getting these calls. They love you. I go, oh, man, don't do that to me.
Don't just scare me like that. You know what? This is something that it just came up to me because we're just talking about how do you measure happiness? How do you measure success in your life? And let me tell you something. We just a couple weeks ago, we sat down with some contractors from all over the country in Canada who, I mean, they make millions and millions of dollars a year, but sitting here and talking to you and the type of attitude that you have just reminded me of that. You don't need to have a $10 million business. You don't need to have all these things in your life. Quality of life is what you make out of, you know,
Right.
and hearing
Yeah.
you, talking to you, and how you carry things. I'm like, dude, that's what it is. That's the definition of it. You're living your life.
Yeah, don't
how you
forget to
lived
leave.
it, how you went, and all that stuff. And that's something that at least myself,
Yeah.
struggles with sometimes, because I need to have a little bit more. I need to push a little bit more. But thank you. You just gave me one of the greatest lessons that I've had in quite some time.
Well, no, thank you, because you brought up something that is so near and dear to my heart, that people measure, and I don't judge them for it, because we've been fed by our society that money is everything. Money, money. But the other day I was shaving and I was like, you know what? When I'm on my deathbed, I'm not going to be like, oh man, I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have painted another wall. I wish I would have got another client. No, I wish I would have spent more time with my grandchildren. I wish I would have, which I do. I take my grandson to like Chick-fil-A, go play on the playground, and we go to like a bounce house, and I sit there and I just watch them. I'll take a few pictures. But success is that your children love you and they call you before a podcast.
That is true.
And they say, hey, I hope you're going to have a good podcast. That success is not money. Success is that, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't been busy, and that's why we pushed the schedule back an hour, because I was able, thank you guys, by the way, I was able to go and do something that I needed to do, because it's been slow because of the rain. I only have an exterior going on, and I keep what I do, my calendar, I keep it small. It's like, I'm like a boutique little guy. Like I used to have a big crew, used to do big jobs, huge apartment complexes, and I was not happy. I wasn't happy. I had a bunch of money. I had a big lifted truck. I had dating multiple girls. I had this life like a rock star without the band.
A rock star.
Yeah, rock star without the band. Like I always say, I'm a rock star on tour without a band. I'm solo project. But the thing is that I realized none of that really made me happy. Don't get me wrong. Luxury and having a nice car. I've got a 1999 Toyota.
Toyotas.
I'm happy. I have no payments. I don't worry that I'm going to not make a payment. I don't worry that if the economy takes a crap, got a couple bucks put away, I'm happy. So if I don't, like today and yesterday, I didn't work because it was raining. Today, I'm not going in either. It's too wet. I can't do anything. So I'm just going to go slide into the weekend, and I'm going to make some videos for YouTube. I'm going to work on my ideas for my series, for things I learned this week. And I'm going to focus on things that drive me to be happy and what I feel success is. And I love that you brought that up, Juan, because a lot of people really think that they're going to be happy once they get the money, but whatever problems you had or issues up here that you have or in here are still going to be there after you have $1 million. So you need to talk to yourself about, why do I think I need the $1 million? Oh, because I want to impress that girl over there in the corner office over there. I want to impress my friends. Impress yourself. Impress yourself. And when you impress yourself and then you really care about people, people see that. You can't fake being genuine, man. You can't fake it. You can't fake it, but you're a psychopath. You're a psychopath if you do. Man. You can fake it, but people really know. And that's why I really truly believe I was raised right by my mom. I believe that every time I was knocked down, Sylvester Stallone said it best. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, it's that you get back up. You get back up. You get back up. And then you try to have a good attitude. And look, I'm human, man. I will remember who knocked me down, but I'm going to do my best not to hold it against them, because again, I don't know what they're going through. Will I spend my time with those people? No, I won't spend my time with those people. I won't waste any more time there, but I will use that as fuel to say, you know what do I need to do to become even better? And then, so my legacy that I'm going to leave for the world or for my kids is to just be as genuine a human being. In my service industry, I'm going to be good customer service. My clients know for a fact that I care. I'm not saying more than other people, but I care at a level that isn't the normal level of, like, how many times they say, wow, you spend triple the time with me talking. This other guy came, he wrote it on like a cocktail napkin. He goes, "There's your price," and I got to go. And I'm like, "Oh." So
Where's
I
the
spend
human
time,
side of that? Where's the
yeah,
human
and
side in there, right?
yeah, and I really want people just to like stop and think about how you affect other people's lives, whether it's not using your turn signal, you or not reciprocating somebody's kindness. Yeah, you're in a hurry or whatever, but just reciprocate a little kindness. It'll change the world. You're the person that can change the world. Everybody goes, "Oh, I want to change the world." Well, you can start just by being nice to people, man. Just being nice.
There you go.
That's it.
So what do you think your ambitions are for this year? Like what do you see yourself really like doing this year?
Achieving this year.
Achieving, you know? I mean, it could be at work. I know you're talking about your what you're doing for YouTube, but
I think I'm going to be more in the information. I never really on Instagram where we met, I've never really stopped to go, "Hey guys, here's how you do, here's how I'm going to prepare this door." You just see me spraying the door. You just see me rolling the wall, but I never talk to people about, because I figure I'm in a community that everybody knows what to do. But surprisingly, I get direct messages, and I get messages that are so cool that, "Hey John, I saw how you were doing that. What size tip were you using on that? Or how did you prepare? Did you use liquid sandpaper? Did you sand it? What grit did you use?" So it started, and I listen to YouTube, and it's like, "Hey, listen to the questions you're asked. That was what people want to know." So I get some of that, and then other people, Jose, you and I talked. We had a really cool conversation, and it was like 2 weeks ago. And before I talked to you, I had like 4 other painters. Ours was a little different, but I guess mentored like 4 other painters. They asked me, "Hey, how do you always stay so busy?" And I go, "Oh, well, that's easy. Here, I'm going to send you a couple of websites. Here's a link to this and a link to that. And you can promote your business on here. And this is what I would do. And you want to use these keywords, and then also use long tail keywords." And so I'm trying to help people. And then I realized, I go, "Man, what I think people know, they don't know." So I want to help. And it's like, I'm the guy who has seen a lot of, I used to go to an estimate with a legal pad and write it on a legal pad. Now I just talk into my phone. I go, "Okay, cabinets, we're going to be using the blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to remove all the hinges." And so I'm writing my proposals.
I got to think of that one.
I'm writing my proposal as I'm going through there. "Oh, the carpet's going," get the client to sign something for the carpet's going to be removed. We're not liable for the carpet. They said it's going to be removed. Put a clause in your contract for that. And so all these little things that I think people know, they don't know.
Yes.
And so I go, well, maybe it's time that you start like sharing your knowledge with people. And I think because I'm okay in front of a camera.
So that brings us into one big question. And I know we got
we're missing that.
Oh, hey, we got to do a big finish when we're done here. Give us about 5 minutes, and we're gonna close that out really good. But
so the last one of the last questions right here is, what are the biggest changes in the industry since you started?
What have you seen?
Dude, this is honestly the biggest change that I've seen in the industry has been this. The fest tool.
We just had a demo yesterday on the.
I saw the demo. I got PTSD. I sent a funny message because the guy's all,
you sent that.
Push it on the wall. I'm like, oh.
See, normally people won't tell me what to do or how to do it, but it's like, hey.
Well, no, I thought it was funny because I go, one of the things that I thought was funny was that the guy, he didn't let you do it at first. He didn't wait to see you do it. And there's nothing against the gentleman. Again, it was like I was in shop class, and it's like you're ready to drill. He's all, I was like, maybe it's because he was so close to the camera, but I thought it was funny, dude. I'm like, why don't you let him touch the wall first and then tell him if he's doing something wrong? That's the way I teach.
So that's one thing with those systems, right? There's 2 types of sanders that he was showing, And so he goes like, this one, you want to make sure it's on before you put it on the wall. The
Yeah.
other type, the other unit is like, you want to put it on the wall and then turn it on. So that's why, you know, he was explaining us, and I'm a big believer, like he can have the best, you know, you know, in this case, standard. But if I don't know how to use it correctly, guess what? I'm not going to get the best benefit out of it. And the one thing I'm going to say, oh, that thing sucks. It doesn't work. You know, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So I'm a strong believer. That's why we're always share, like, you know what? Let's get not just ourselves, but let's bring some of our team members to learn, get this training, and then they can start sharing and teaching our
and they'll teach you.
Dude, I love it because I see the way you guys have like a younger crew. I always wanted to work with younger people, and I did, but sometimes you get the wrong people on the crew that don't have the same work ethic you do or don't have the same ideas. That's another thing I admire about you guys. I see and I go, are these guys family members? Because man, there's the same faces. And I look at that and I go, you guys are very fortunate to have good people on your crew. I work alone is because, again, the black hair. I work alone. I don't like being in business, man. If I make a schedule with a client and I say I'm going to be there on this day at this time, you ain't going to find me anywhere else except that place at that time to do what I said I was going to do. I just had an experience. Actually, I won't get into that experience, but it's like people say they're going to do things and then they don't do it because it's not that important to them. And so I just look at what you guys have, and I'm telling you guys, I want to come and visit you guys sometime.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I want to come and visit you guys. We'll shoot some stuff. I hate the word content. I hate content. We don't make content. We create videos and we create entertainment content. I don't like it. It's a gross to me content. Does Steven Spielberg make content? No, he makes movies. Stop with the content. That's the most generic, dumb term I ever heard. I don't like it. I'm saying it. I'm going on my rant right now. Don't use content with me. I don't, even though sometimes I might say it accidentally, I don't like it. But I would love to come and visit you guys. I see that all the work you're putting into your shop. I think it's beautiful. I think it's great. It's like,
thank you.
You guys are a constant inspiration. There's people I look to in my personal life and in my business life. And you guys are definitely an inspiration for me in my
thank you, man.
Life.
Means a lot. That means a lot, man. I mean,
you're welcome.
We're just a couple Mexican boys just trying to do something. And you know what? We really enjoy this, right? That's the thing. You know, we really, really enjoy this. So I could be at the job site. I could be this, but guess what? I am here with John Diaz, man. We're laughing our asses off. I mean, what is not to like, you know? So, John, God, you know, we're going to have a second one to this because this is not over yet. We have so many more points to touch.
Let me give you another thing, though, that has been a game changer for me. Cordless tools, cordless sanders, DeWalt.
Yes.
A big shout out to Lowe's Home Improvement. They sent me a sander to try out, a DeWalt cordless battery operated sander. I love it. I don't have to hook up. I'm up on a second story. I don't have to have an extension cord that's running up
on a high ceiling.
It's a little heavier. It's a little heavier, but look, you don't have it's maybe the same that you would have an extension cord, the weight of the
pulling you down.
Yeah, and I don't have that, and it's just a beautiful thing, man. And then the Graco battery operated, the handheld, the ultra handheld. You guys buy those?
We shot a commercial actually.
They shot a commercial for the new one, and that's the electric gun, right?
Quick shot.
The quick shot. Yeah, God, they did, and they actually gave us one. Thank you, Graco. Appreciate it so much.
Is it called the quick shot? The one I have is the ultra. The one I have is the ultra handheld.
So the quick shot is the one that you actually clip it into your belt.
And it has a little small line.
And it's a 3 feet line, I think. And then
it's got a line.
6 feet.
Oh,
yes,
God,
it's got a line.
It's beautiful. It's
you had to try
small, compact. We'll send you the info. But let me tell you something, John. So what will be something? You already told us a lot of this. We kind of have to. I mean, I got Oliver behind us. We're like, hey, boys, come on. This is official. But John,
Yes.
What is something that you say, and this we like to ask this, what is something that you say you would like to leave everyone with? Like if you were just the last day here and say, hey, I want to come tell you guys this in general, what will come out of your mouth?
I would say be kind to everyone you meet. You never know what they're going through. Do your best not to judge people. If you don't want to be judged, don't judge people. You don't know what they're going through. And your kindness could save somebody. If you see somebody with a nice tie, tell them it's a nice tie. If you see somebody with some nice shoes that you like, just tell them, hey, dude, I love those shoes.
Cool
It
shoes.
will make their day. It will help them. If you see somebody doing good work, be nice, go over and say, hey, I love what you're doing. When I have a thing that when I talk to somebody on customer service, I always make them laugh. Always. And they go, you know what? Thank you, sir. That I go, I know you guys get a lot of people on customer, whether I call my bank, if I call the electric company to ask a question, if I call customer service to Dunn Edwards to find out specifics, whoever I talk to, I want to leave them with the fact that, and maybe it's contagious, man. Maybe it'll be contagious that they'll take that spirit, that energy, and they'll give it to somebody else. And that way I've changed the world.
Love it.
I love it.
John.
Yeah.
Man, for anyone who listens to this, John, let me tell you, by far, I've enjoyed this chat more than than I have, some of the other ones. It's just the human side of you that is just amazing, man. And then for you to still be in the business for this long, it doesn't matter. I mean, we want to target a lot of the new business coming in and help them start the business in the right way. But there's a lot of us who have been in the business for such a long time. We care so much. But if we can start using a small system or start creating something small, change our business, creating more work for us, that's what we want to create too, because it doesn't matter that we've been doing this for so long. That doesn't matter. We can still change. We can evolve. That's what we want to do. Change and evolve. Right?
I agree 100%. I want to add to that. Number one, I'm sorry for talking so much.
Yeah, you're good.
I want to practice. This is only my second podcast. This is my second podcast. The first podcast I did was only audio. This is my second one. I had to shave and I had to get a haircut.
You're looking good, man. I'm telling you, thank you.
Well, I'm not fishing for that, but what you say is I want to add to that, and I just again want to apologize because I want to have good podcast etiquette. But then you say something, and I'm like, oh yeah. To younger people, don't be afraid to reach out to other people. Don't be afraid to like reach out to somebody and say, hey, how did you do this? How did you achieve this? How did you, whether it's business, whether it's marketing, whether it's an application, you shouldn't fear. You should look at it as an opportunity to grow your business and grow as a human being, and then to build relationships. That's one thing that's important that we didn't talk about. Building relationships with your suppliers, building relationships with your clients who become repeat clients, building relationships with just
everybody,
people that that are there for you to learn from. And some people may not be receptive to answering questions. There's plenty of people that what I call gatekeepers. They're the gatekeeper. They're like, I don't want to tell you anything about how I became successful. Okay, fine. There'll be somebody that will be happy like me. I'll be happy to share whatever I have. I have a feeling you guys are the same way. But that is hugely important to me, is to go ahead and hit that note, and don't be afraid.
If I want to add a little bit to what you just said earlier, right?
Please.
We talk about through social media. A lot of people, don't know, but like I'm the one always normally dealing with social media, creating videos, shooting videos, pictures, and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I get these comments from you, DM, hey, this is something that you want to do, something you want to change.
Yeah,
so
sharing it.
Believe it or not, every time from now on, since that day, every time I go to the job site and every time I'm shooting a video, recording
now
a video
he shows his face
or a picture, it's like, what would John Diaz would say?
Uh,
No, it's John telling me like you gotta show your face, you gotta make people connect, engage, and connect
Yeah.
the face with. I don't have the
Come on,
the
John.
radio,
I mean,
radio host,
this whole
the
time.
radio host voice, but I'm like,
Oh,
with the radio, with the face,
Estamos
the face
aquí.
with the voice.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
that's you.
The thing is, I was just
Go-
telling my son about this. I told him how we talked and how I was explaining to you, like, hey, make believe, like when you shoot video, we talked and I said, hey, I think this might help you a little bit, do this, because I really want to help. And
Yeah, thank
here's
you.
another thing. I just gave a friend of mine some advice, and I hope he sees this. But he didn't ask me for the advice. And this is one of the things I'm going to do in my series, what I learned this week. Don't give people advice that they don't ask for. I'm so happy that you were receptive to the advice, because I really truly want to help people, but sometimes people don't ask for the help. And one of my good friends, I go, hey man, you should add audio to that. It'll be more engaging. And he wrote back a smart ass comment that was like, oh, I'm sorry that it was distracting. I go, I didn't say anything about it being distracting. Never mind. Never mind, dude. I was just trying to help you. And so I really want to thank you for saying that, because what our conversation was like, hey, if you want to gain more engagement and people listen to your message, you want to show your face and your eyes and you want to talk to them. And then also when you're shooting the video, don't move the frame too quick, because you're like the viewer. It'd be like your head going like this. Like,
Yes.
like that.
Oh, well.
just like that.
Yeah, see what happens when you do that?
No, so
You
I
don't
think
want it. So slow pans.
so just for people to know, every time they see a picture or a reel, a video, whatever they see, you're gonna see, John Diaz's work.
There you go.
That's you're
That's a recommendation.
Yeah.
See how things travel. See how we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
reciprocate.
my inspiration. Like I said,
There we
every
go.
time I go pull my phone and I'm gonna start recording, I'm like, okay, if it's John Diaz, John Diaz
What
in
would
my head
he
is
be doing?
telling me like, no, remember, slow down, show your face, the voice, and what you're doing, the everything. So
Yeah.
thank you.
That's why I
Dude,
let the pros
thank
do the
you.
work. I don't do it myself. John,
So
okay,
don't
this is
don't
what
give me
this is
credit.
what I would like to. This is how I would like to close this down, because I need to hear
Thank you.
the voice,
Yeah.
el radio. I forgot the radio, the 15, right?
Radio 15,
Estábamos aquí con los hombres de Los Ilusiones, Illusion Painting. Por favor, si tienen el tiempo, pon el oreja, oír estos chavos.
Y ahora una. Cum, 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 cum. I wanna hear those drums. Ready, set, come on, John. Woo! We can't really hear it, but it's okay. John, you are the man. Thank you so much. And we are gonna have a second one to this, because there is so much more to talk about. It's been a pleasure, man. God, I don't even know how to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
John.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm ready for number 2.
John,
I like that.
there you go. John, we'll see you. You have a beautiful
Thank
day,
you
my
so
man.
much.
We'll be in touch.
Right on, guys. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me on. This was a pleasure, and I'm going to be on cloud 9 for the rest of the day, so I'll be up there.
It's our pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
Have a
Thanks
good
a lot,
one.
Jose. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Juan. Bye, Jose.
Bye.
Bye, John.